What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. So I just want to apologize for last week about not uploading a video to the channel. I was just stupidly busy. I've just moved to Chiang Mai, so now we're kind of relatively settled and we can now get back onto routine and start producing content every weekend. Been very busy with the charts this week. It's been a great week. Price action's been really nice. Unfortunately, missed most of the positions that I wanted to take, but that's absolutely fine. We can't catch everything. Gonna have to move on and we'll smash it next week. So jumping straight into the video, I thought this one would be a really interesting one for everyone because basically, this is everything that I would really tell myself at 17 when I started to learn how to trade, coming in with, signals and all that kind of stuff. Now, the industry has changed a lot since when I started to what it is now. It's still kind of relatively the same, but the marketing and the signals and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot more available to you guys nowadays. But I thought it would be really interesting to kind of journal my journey, and that's kind of what this YouTube is for, to be able to journal my journey and to be able to hopefully help some of you guys. So one of the first things that I would say to myself is you need to treat trading like a business. Now, going in at 17, obviously I was just kind of fresh out of high school, starting college, getting into, the higher education, if you like. And I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know how to treat something as a business. So I didn't really understand, I need to be professional about this. I need to be, I need to actually have a routine, because you come into trading and, the understanding that you get is, you don't have a routine. You kind of just wake up on the beach and you just, trade for 2 minutes a day and then you make £5,000 per day. It's not quite like that. Obviously, you still need to be very professional. You still need to have a routine. You need to work on yourself. You need to constantly be progressing. Now, trading is a business that pretty much anyone can get into, but not everyone can succeed in it, because it really takes a lot of mental willpower to actually push through all of the really difficult and hard times. And I guess this is kind of the same for any business, really. You have to understand trading, like any business, is going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of grit, and it's going to really challenge you at all times in your journey. Now, just because, for example, you get funded or you get, you're trading with a larger amount of capital, does not always mean that it's going to be a smooth sailing journey from there. This is where, you really actually start to get challenged. The challenge to do, for example, a funded challenge is actually, one of the kind of easier parts in my kind of understanding or my perception of trading, right? Because the actual hard part is then when you're seeing those larger numbers, what you're actually going to do is you're going to be, really emotionally attached at first, right? Now, obviously, it takes a long time to be comfortable with those numbers, because obviously if you're coming from a job where you're making, say, £1,000 a month, and then you actually end up making £1,000 every, a week, even that is just going to be absolutely massive. And then if you start losing that money, you're then going to start associating that with, oh, I've just lost my monthly wage in 1 hour. Whereas actually what you need to be doing is you need to be looking at it as right, this is my account size and I've only lost 0.5%, 1%, for example, something along these lines. This journey is going to be 1,000 times harder than what you would actually expect it to be. Initially you come in and you see all of this kind of support and resistance stuff, or you start with signals, or you start with, seeing someone who is marketing Forex, right? And you look at them and you go, oh, well, they're doing this looks super easy, blah, 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 blah. And ultimately it's really not. It's going to take a lot of personal development and, working on yourself, reading books, watching podcasts, listening to other traders, right? You're going to have to be, working out. You're going to have a routine. You're going to have to really kind of push yourself in the direction of personal growth, right? And this also comes down to the point of maybe making sacrifices in your life. Maybe that is kind of, you're not going out on the weekends and you're staying in and you're studying the charts. Or maybe you're, stopping doing family events, right? What you need to look at this is yes, you shouldn't always just kind of, avoid doing everything. You need to take some personal time as well, because if you, do too much work, then you're going to have a burnout, which is equally not as good as, you know, you're not moving forward then, right? You're just actually hindering yourself, and you're pushing yourself back, and actually making the journey longer. And this is one of the mistakes that I really did make, is I just pushed, and I didn't really have much time to do anything else. So even when I wasn't feeling like trading, then what I did was I just forced myself. And then either what I would be doing is taking some really shitty trades and just not, you know, following the plan, or I would just, you know, miss some of the really solid trades and just frustrate myself because I was sitting there watching the screen, but mentally I was not available. Some of you may have watched my podcast with Trader Dan. It's actually not available anymore. I think he's taken it down. You know, he got really sick of like the fact that his Instagram got taken down, and you know, all of his social media was basically just kind of on a standstill. So he pretty much got rid of everything. But if anyone did watch that, you would understand that basically for me, I got into trading via, you know, marketing. Now, this is one thing that I would make very apparent to anyone that's beginning to learn, right? You're going to be influenced or dragged in by some of these marketers. They're going to show you a lifestyle which is basically what you want to see, right? You want to see the Lambos, you want to see the private jets, you want to see the beach, you know, just sitting on the beach making a lot of money. All of this kind of stuff is absolutely targeted at you. So what you really need to do is you need to be careful with these kind of guys, right? Yes, it's absolutely possible to get to these kind of stages. No, I'm not at that stage yet, right? It is a slow journey to get there. But what you need to look at trading as is, you know, you need to take it as a marathon, not a sprint. If you're trying to get rich quick, this is definitely not the industry for you. And, you know, you basically should just give up now. Also, another thing that comes along with these marketers is obviously, you know, generally just showing this lifestyle off. Now, even once you get to a point where you can kind of live lavishly, if you like, it's not as easy as that. On social media, all you will see is, you know, the little snippets of really lavish life. And for example, even for me, like I post obviously, you know, my traveling, you know, videos and that kind of stuff, but still I'm working 16/7, like all the time, right? This is Sunday morning right now, and I'm obviously making this video. I'm always doing something, right? I don't really get a massive amount of time to myself. You know, I've got many different things going on, so it's not as kind of easy and smooth flowing as you would like to think. But that doesn't mean that it's absolutely rewarding, right? The reason that I do this is because I love it, and there is absolutely no other reason why I would be doing this. If I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't be doing it. When I was younger, one of the last things that I thought I would ever be doing is reading books. Now, I've seen some of the biggest progression in my trading just via reading books, okay? Some of these books have absolutely changed my life and changed my trading for the greater good, right? Absolutely crazy. Obviously, if you watch previous videos on this channel, I have recommended some of these books, and if you do want to message me, I can then give you some of these books. Back in the day, like for me, I only read this book called Captain Underpants when I was a really young kid, right? This was the only thing that I was really interested in. There's one other book which I read, which was The Iron Giant, okay? Those are the only two books that I ever read and actually enjoyed when I was younger, because they, you know, slightly interested me. But I think the reason that I didn't read books is because I didn't know what interested me, right? Now, what interests me is personal development, right? Growth. So any of these kind of self-help trading books, psychological books, anything that is going to help me in my daily life, this is, you know, massive for me. Like, I love these kind of books now. So I would absolutely recommend that if you are struggling with anything in life, or even if you just want some pastime, right? Get reading books, because absolutely no harm can come from reading a book and, you know, taking in some information, obviously, you know, widening your potential vocabulary, and also just opening your mind to many different things or perspectives which you didn't have. And one of the major points in this video is you cannot always be right? You need to be able to accept the fact that you are going to take losses, right? Losses come with the business. It's going to happen. There is no way around it. You're going to have to take losses. And basically, the way that you need to see losses is losses are information in which you can improve on, right? Sometimes there is nothing that you can improve on because you just, your system cannot be 100%, and sometimes you will take a loss, right? That's absolutely fine. But what you need to do is you need to take those losses and journal them, right? Make sure you're journaling absolutely everything. For me, I journal case studies, I journal, I get my back testing done, I journal my trades, I journal my emotions, I journal absolutely everything, right? So I can see on every single time, every single week, every single month, every single quarter, I can look back and say, okay, well, I've improved on this, or I need to work on this, or, this needs more work, X, Y, Z. Same again, reading some of these books, right? This is what has actually helped me with being able to take losses. I believe it was one of the more typical books of, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Really, really helpful with, being able to look at losses as, just an experience, and take it for face value. It is a loss, X, Y, Z. You've got to move on, but you need to take in the information, what that is giving you, so you can actually move forward and then obviously not make that mistake again. If you've been within the trading space for a little while now, you will understand that there is so many different ways of trading, right? I have so many people come up in my DMs on Instagram, every week saying, I've looked at this person, and I've looked at this person, I've looked at this person, and I'm trying to learn all of these different systems and just take information from each person. Now that is absolutely fine, because ultimately that's, kind of how I came up as well. Now this is the whole reason why obviously I post on my Instagram, I post on my YouTube, I post on my Twitter, I post all of these different social media platforms, and also on Facebook. And that's why everyone does, right? They want to be able to share some information with you, share some knowledge with you, share you a chart, share you some information about like a session or market structure, or, something along these lines, right? We all have different ways of looking at it. Now, whether you join my group, whether you join someone else's group, what you need to actually do is you need to make their system, their strategy, your own, right? So that doesn't mean like, you just copy it to a T and it works for you, right? Sometimes you can copy it to a T, but not everyone can. It's not going to be suited for absolutely everyone, right? So actually making it your own, right? I have a few people in my group I have several different ways of entering the market, right? Now, what they've done is they've actually taken a few pieces of my system and just using that, right? Because I have 4 different ways of entering the market, right? Now, one of these ways is basically a complete system on its own, right? So they are just using this one way of getting into the market, right? So they've made it their own, right? Because what they're doing is they are working, they're not able to be at the charts all the time. So this system, this way of getting into the market is really viable for them. They're able to work around it with their work, and it just works, right? So what they've done is they've adopted my system and then just made it their own, okay? So this is what you have to do if you're obviously not going to make your own system. Now, while we're on the topic of being in different groups and communities, what you actually need to do is stick with one community, right? Find one, do your due diligence, right? Work out if this is actually a system and a style of trading that you actually like, and then stick with it, right? Because if it doesn't work within the first week or the first month or the first few months, or even maybe the first year, right? It takes the psychological work to be able to make a system work, right? It doesn't just work by clicking your fingers, watching the videos, maybe turning up to a few live calls, and then it just kind of clicks and it works, right? It does work, because that's the reason that the group is, a thing, hopefully anyway. But it's really not a quick journey. It's not a quick turnaround. It doesn't just kind of happen. Some people obviously do pick it up really, really quickly. That's fine. That's just the normal progression of how life is, right? Some people will pick it up very, very fast. Depends on, each person's journey, right? Each person has, different things going on in their day-to-day life, right? So, you can't kind of compare your journey to someone else's journey in that same group. Everyone is in a different case scenario, right? One person might put in like maybe 5 hours a day on the charts, and the other person might be putting 1 hour a day. But this person is asking, why is this person moving forward faster? And obviously, well, it's clear, but you cannot see it at face value. You cannot, unless you ask this person, like, what are you doing different to me? They'll be like, right, well, I'm putting 5 hours in, and you're only putting 1 hour in, right? Not that that's an issue, but that's why the progression is quicker one side than the other. Now let's talk about precision, right? For me, precision has always been something that I needed, right? I'm very precise. I like to be very specific and precise within anything that I do. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and this is quite detrimental to me. Now, I wouldn't really say it affects my trading, but it definitely does affect like the way that I see or that I need the market to be. I need it to be very, specific. Now, this is, on one hand, is very good, and on the other hand, is actually very, very bad, right? So what I've actually done on the bad side of things is I've actually got to a point where I was too specific. So I was actually missing my entries because it would literally touch my entry to the tick, right? But spread would not allow me in, right? So I actually got too specific at one point in my trading that I just wasn't getting entered in because I was too specific, right? So then I was like, okay, now I need to dial this back, and I need to actually look at the market and say, okay, well, if I'm doing this too specifically or too precisely, what I now need to do is dial that back and maybe increase my stop loss, increase my entry, maybe forward run my entries a little bit, XYZ. I finally found my way out of that. But yeah, precision can be really, really detrimental, but it also can be very, very good, right? So obviously precision allows us to get these high risk to reward trades, but also then, same again, as we always say, as every single smart money or, supply and demand or whatever trader comes and says, is you're not going to make 100% out of 100R, right? We're going to be taking partials. Getting a bit further onto this point, basically what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make rules for absolutely everything. Now, as I stated in the beginning of the video, obviously we come into trading and all we understand is that, we have no rules, we have no time, we have no schedule, we have XYZ, right? You need to make rules and routines out of this, right? So when that comes down to, I need to journal every single trade. For example, for me, every time I take a trade, I need to journal it, okay? Whether it's a loss, whether it's a win, whether it's a break even, doesn't make a difference. I need to journal it before I take the next trade, because then that stops me from taking another trade, which potentially could be very, very shitty. And this is one process that you really cannot skip, right? You have to do this, because if not, trading doesn't really work. Now, for me, when I first got into trading, it was, very, very simple for me. It was like, I'm either on the charts and I'm doing something and I'm building and moving forward, or I'm not on the charts and I'm not moving forward, right? This is completely not the case, because for me, yes, obviously chart time is very important, but actually I was not getting anywhere because I was not trying to make a system. I was not trying to, build a strategy to be able to get into the market. I just was looking for entries. Now, this is one thing that many, many people, even, more experienced people go through, is like, they're just looking for entries. Whether you've been in the market for, 1 month, 1 week, or 1 year, some people just really, really focus in on the entries. Now, the entries are one of the last points that you need, right? You need to obviously understand all of the concepts, and you need to understand the concepts because that will allow you the where for the entries, okay? If you know where you want to look for entries, you then know how to get the entries, right? The entries are the easiest part. You need to know where, right? Putting in this time and effort into, understanding everything is then going to help you with getting the entries. It's the last point that you need. And you really do need to, take the time to build a system or to use someone else's system and make it your own, like we just said, and have trust in it. Build faith in that system. Because if you don't have faith in it, you're going to just FOMO. You're going to be taking trades when it doesn't fit your plan. And ultimately, then you're going to get to, for example, let's just say if you're in a group on a monthly, subscription, for example, you're going to leave because you're going to not have any faith in it. And then you're going to go around the same cycle that everyone goes through, right? Which is basically just group after group after group, looking for the best strategy ever, the holy grail. There is no holy grail. You're going to have downfalls constantly, all the time, right? It doesn't make a difference whether your trading is going absolutely perfect, right? All it takes is one little thing externally, like within your life, and then maybe, for example, you have an argument with someone, or you miss the train, or you wake up late, or you don't go to the gym, or there's many, many different things which is going to make you have a bad day, right? Obviously, everyone is specific to themselves. Personally, now I avoid everything that could make me, to push me into a bad mood. And I've really been training my brain to be fearless, right? So getting to a point of like having an iron mind, right? Now this all comes from all of the psychological work that I've been doing along my trading journey, working on myself, personal development, working in the gym, because if you've got a healthy body, you've got a healthy mind. But some of these downfalls and setbacks are actually going to make you want to quit. Now, obviously, if that gets to the point where you really do need to quit, then, like I said at the beginning, this is not for everyone. But if you do decide to continue, the comeback is always bigger than the setback, bearing in mind that you can get through them. Personally, in my opinion, you're going to have to make many sacrifices during your journey, as we said at the beginning of the video, but making it a little bit more, clear and specific. Not going out on the weekends, dedicating some time to not watching Netflix and just getting on the charts and studying the concepts or the system or the entry models or whatever you need to be able to get into the trades. These sacrifices can actually look very, very bad in your eyes from the beginning, right? But actually, over the long run, what you're going to actually see is these sacrifices that you have made are going to be part of your personal development. They're actually going to push you forward a lot faster than if you were to stay, for example, within a friends group, which is really holding you back and not helping you progress or not motivating you or not being there to support you in your own journey throughout life. This is really going to be able to help you with your mental health, with your physical health, and with the life path that you end up taking. You want to be surrounding yourself with the people that really motivate you, that really push you forward, that really make you do your best. And this leads nicely onto the next point about your inner circle friendship group is actually going to decrease quite a lot. Now, this is a topic which I want to make a separate video on because this is quite a large topic which I want to go into and kind of explain my journey with, my inner circle friendship group and why this sacrifice can actually be very beneficial to you, to your life, to your mental health again, to your physical health. You're basically sacrificing these things to move forward in your own journey. Because one of the things that you do realize after time is no one actually gives a fuck. So actually what you need to do is you need to start focusing on yourself. You need to start moving forward in the direction that you want to move. And sometimes these sacrifices have to be made. The trading space can actually be very, very toxic. I'm sure we all know of this now. We've seen, a lot of beef being going on, right? So it's best to just keep in your own lane, stay away from all of this beef or trading group on trading group beef, clashing, that kind of shit. Really, really not positive for the mind. It's not a space that you want to be, within. You want to be really kind of keeping your distance from that kind of stuff. Just keep in your own lane and just keep moving forward, right? The direction is so much more important than the speed. If you start, turning slightly off into that kind of direction, after a long period of time, you have actually turned a long way off the direction that you're actually trying to go. Despite the fact that the trading industry can be very toxic at times, you should always be looking to put yourself into a place of positivity, into a place of open-mindedness, and to be able to attract the right people instead of attracting the wrong people. And last but not least, there is always going to be more things that you feel like you need to learn, right? Even at my stage, there's always going to be things that I feel like I need to learn, right? It's that shiny object syndrome. Now, one of the things that you will learn down the line is overanalysis can lead to analysis paralysis, right? Overanalysis basically comes from the point that you have too much information and you don't know what to do with it. So you end up, analyzing this pair this way, and then you end up analyzing this pair this way, and then you just, you either miss positions or you just don't have a clue what's going on. If you stick to one specific way and, if it works, then just stick with it. Analysis paralysis is very real, and I've seen it through many, many people's journey. And for me, I've always been a little bit more specific. Like I say, I've always been a bit precise, and the precision has been a big thing for me. So I've always focused specifically on one thing. Now, the reason that I failed at those other things was because of mindset. So keep working on your mindset, making sure that you're moving forward with your physical health, your mental health, the direction that you want your life to be going in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.